Good afternoon, sports fans, bettors, and cappers, and welcome to the Daily Competitive Hedge podcast. I'm your host of the show, Kenneth, and this show is all about sports and the world of betting. We talk about results from yesterday's games and wagers before diving into today's betting plays. Now, this is a bit of a special episode given that we are on a Saturday since switching to the Monday to Friday show. We've taken some time off on the weekend, but we need to turn around our luck on the NFL side because we've had a little bit of a cold start the first couple weeks of the season. And I think the best way to do that is to dive into some of these player prop lines on a Saturday, the day before the games kick off. And so I'm excited today to have a special guest on right away here. But before we get into today's episode, it is sponsored by Bet99. Bet99 is a Canadian sportsbook and casino that offers in-play betting, player props, and many more great products. There are a variety of sports available on the website to bet on, and Bet99 works smoothly on both desktop and mobile. Depositing and withdrawing funds is hassle-free with a number of well-known methods to use, so you know your money is safe and secure. So go to bet99.com today to make an account. Use code SHOOTERS at sign-up, and please gamble responsibly. You must be 19 plus years of age to do so. And if you have any questions or concerns about the gambling of yourself or someone close to you, then please contact Connex Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak to an advisor free of charge. We're all about responsible gambling here at the Competitive Hedge podcast. And so, as I said, we're trying to turn things around. We're at 500 right now for NFL plays. And so we want to dive in and look at NFL player props for week 3 of the NFL season. Now, I can't think of a better guy to bring on, given that we had a Twitter Spaces on Thursday night, and we cooked up a beautiful 4-player prop parlay that we cashed at plus 1,000, and he was the guy who hosted it. He hosted every Thursday. That is Tyson Cole from over at SpittinPicklets. Tyson, how are you doing on this beautiful Saturday afternoon?
Buddy, I'm great. I'm still thriving off that plus 1,000 on Thursday, and I can't wait to hit another one with you.
Definitely. So what we're going to do is we're going to be going through looking at all of the player prop lines that we like for the weekend. We're going to go game by game. Tyson's already got a list of plays that he likes. I'm going to be tagging along with him as we wade through the waters of some of these really gross NFL Week 3 games, but also a couple of great ones on the slate. So Tyson, I'm going to defer to you. What's the first game you want to look at?
Well, on my little sheet of 28 props I got here, the one I have a lot of is this Lions-Vikings game.
Okay. I'm in. So where do you want to start with this Lions-Vikings matchup?
I don't know. We can start at the running backs because I feel like they're great for fantasy. They're great for player props, even though Dalvin Cook hasn't been that good this year. But I really think this is the bounce back game for him. His line for rushing yards is only 79.5, which seems pretty low for Dalvin Cook. Granted, he hasn't been very good, but I really think he scores tonight or tomorrow. What I have here is Detroit is averaging 2 touchdowns per game to the running back position, and Dalvin Cook hasn't scored yet. I hate saying a player's due, but I mean, he's due.
Yeah, and clearly Vegas thinks that he's due as well. The anytime is minus 175, but that is a nice parlay piece when we're looking to add a leg that you feel like is a bit more of a sure thing than others. And you said you got 79.5. I even have it at 78.5, so you can get that extra yard at minus 110. So I like the Dalvin line. Now, what are the other running back ones that you like?
So something that might not be a great parlay piece, but Swift over 3.5 receptions. He is actually yet to hit this, even though he's been crushing the yardage. which seems odd. I don't have his yardage written down here, but the Vikings allow 46 yards again, 6.5 catches to the running back position in only 2 games so far. But his line at 3.5, and him being the predominant receiving back, I do like that a lot. Another one is Amon-Ra St. Brown. I was on it last week. I thought he was breaking the record last week with 8 receptions in the most consecutive games. His line's at 6.5. I've seen another few cappers on this as well. That's sitting at -130, but I believe it's like 8 games in a row now that he's just consecutively got 8, and we're getting it at 7.
And this also feels like it's going to be a shootout game, looking at how I shouldn't even say that the Vikings defenses look terrible, but the Lions defense certainly has. And so if this is a case where Minnesota's leading, I do like the idea of a lot of catch up for Detroit. And that means a lot of receptions for St. Brown. And I mean, the Swift one I like, it's 3.5 at -105. So I do think that there's good value to be had there for sure. That's probably my favorite one that we've talked about so far. On the prop side, I do think that Dalvin touchdown, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, how long are we going to keep Dalvin off the score sheet? And you're going up against a terrible defense this week.
Exactly. So I want to look up like his stats against the Lions, because the Lions have been bad, and I'm assuming that Dalvin has just crushed them throughout the years.
The other player prop that I thought about for this Detroit game was the Jared Goff interceptions, because over a half is -110, which seems low given the fact that it's Jared Goff.
Agreed.
And I know that he looked great last week, but we're expecting Jared Goff to have back-to-back really good weeks, because Detroit fans are talking like, we don't need a quarterback because Jared Goff, look what he just did. But I don't buy it. And so the -110, I am intrigued on the interception line. What do you think?
I do like it too. Has he thrown one yet?
I don't know if he did week 1 either. He did play that Eagles secondary, so there might have been one in that game. But if he hasn't yet, then once again, we go back to is he due to throw an interception at some point? Because once again, it's Jared Goff. So are we really?
Jared Goff is not that guy.
No, he's definitely not. Week 1, he threw one. He threw one against the Eagles. So,
well, I could see him doing it again.
Okay. So those are a few that we like here. Any other plays for Vikings-Lions?
Not in that game, no.
Okay. Let's move on to a different game that I was looking at prior, which would have been Ravens-Patriots. Is there any in this game that you like, or is this kind of a stay-away game?
I don't have really anything for the Ravens, but I do have something for the Patriots. I did this last week. It was my favorite last week, favorite prop, and it didn't hit. But this week it's going to hit. It's Ramondre Stevenson's reception. I actually don't have a line for it. I'm assuming it would be 2.5, and I still like it at that. So the reason is, let me just look again.
So I'll give you one while you're looking. I do like Mark Andrews on the receptions this week. It's 4.5, and it's -140. If it's 5.5, I'm concerned, because I feel like he's going to consistently be 5 for 45 yards.
Yeah.
But with it being at 4.5, I think
do like
there's
that
value there.
Just the only thing is the Patriots are really good against tight ends.
Yeah.
But the only option really in Baltimore is Mark Andrews.
And Bateman's coming off a big day too. So I think they're going to try and shut down Andrews, I would assume, because Bill always tries to shut down that one guy. So maybe that was just one that I looked at. Maybe it's a stay away if they are good against tight ends. But what was your one that you had on Stevenson?
Yeah, so the Ravens are allowing 10 receptions to the running back position per game this season. And Ramondre Stevenson, he still played the most snaps. Yeah. He played more than Damian Harris last week. He just wasn't getting the ball. I tweeted out this photo where he's just wide open, and he would have got the receiving yards, but they didn't even throw it to him. Which is
the other concern for me too is look at what Harris had at the end of the game. Like, he had that. It looked like he was banged up. and he was a bit questionable throughout the week. I do think he's going to end up playing, but does that mean he plays the full game if he's banged up? Or do we see what you're talking about where Stevenson continues to get the majority of the snaps?
That's what I think. I think we're in for a big Ramondre Stevenson week.
Okay, we'll mark it down as one as a potential for the parlay. Now, is this your only play in New England's game?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't trust either QB on anything. I don't love the running situation in Baltimore, given that Lamar can just take the majority of it away from guys. So I don't like betting anyone else.
No, I got nothing. I was looking at maybe Aguilar, but like you never know which Pat's wide receivers.
Because then it'll be Myers, then it'll be Bourne. We haven't seen any Devontae Parker. Hunter Henry was bad. So this is a gross receiving core, I think, on both sides. So what other games are you looking at?
I don't want to jump into the afternoon slate right away.
What about Buffalo, Miami?
See, the only thing I really like is Waddle receptions. I'm a little concerned. I don't know what's going on with Gabe Davis. And if Xavier Howard's out, then I like Diggs. But I feel like everybody's going to be on Diggs, so I kind of want to fade that. But Jalen Waddle, I think he's the more consistent of the two out of him and Tyreek Hill. And I think his receptions line is only 4.5. And he was crushing that number last year.
What do you think of Josh Allen's passing rush yards?
What was that?
326.5.
326. He could just pass for that.
That's kind of what I'm wondering is because his yards are 280, which I get a little bit sketched out in case he throws for like 275, but then he rushes for 50. But if you throw them together and then you get it up to 326.5.
That's not bad. I want to see how many times he cleared that last year.
Yeah, I would imagine that he would have passed it in yards on quite a few occasions. And because this is a crucial divisional game, I'm actually on the Miami spread here just because it is as steep as it is. And I feel like that's a pretty popular play this week. But I still think Allen's going to be good. I just think that Miami's going to keep it close. I don't know if that results in a division win, but I do think that they're going to keep this as a close game, which is also good for Allen owners because – I mean, you look at last week, he got pulled before the fourth quarter even started because they were blowing out Tennessee. So I don't even see that being the case, and he would have gone over that anyways in that game. So
for sure. And another thing, like, I just forgot my train of thought. Sorry. It's one of the highest over-unders on the slate. So they're obviously expecting a lot of points, which means a lot of yards. And if we see the same Miami team that we saw last week, which we very well could, considering all the secondary injuries that we're seeing out of Buffalo, then Josh Allen's going to have to throw. He's easily, I think, going to get 250 at least. And then if they're down, he can scramble for it too.
Yeah. I'm kind of in that boat because I don't love either run game. I don't think that anyone should ever be playing a Bills or Miami rushing prop, but that's I think we're in the same boat on that. If I don't know why.
Until someone takes the reins on either team, I can't. I took Chase Edmonds last week for receptions, and I think he had less snaps than his reception line.
And I'm with you where I don't trust the Gabe Davis situation because if you miss a week and now you're just going to come back in and be fine, I don't believe in that. But you can't really go anyone else on Buffalo from a receiving perspective, receptions or yards in that case because you're putting a lot of faith in McKenzie or Crowder, who are pretty much splitting at this point on most possessions.
Yeah.
So,
and then who are you going to trust? Jay Kumaro?
No, we are not.
No, the Dolphins aren't great against the tight end position either, but I don't like what I've seen out of Dawson Knox so far.
What about interceptions on Tua? Or is it just we don't trust the fact that the secondary's banged up for Buffalo?
Yeah, I could see that. Like I don't know.
I was just wondering because I'm looking at Tua's and it's -110, kind of that Jared Goff line again.
I think I trust Jared Goff to throw an interception more.
Yeah. And to be honest, that's probably my favorite play over in Detroit. So, okay. Anything else for Buffalo, Miami?
I don't have anything. No, I really like that Allen passing and rushing yards. If
Let's move on to the next one. Bengals Jets. Anything?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got two of my favorites here.
Okay.
Michael Carter over 2.5 receptions. This line, I don't know how.
That's really good.
I don't know how it hasn't moved. It hasn't moved since week 1. I got it at plus 150 week 1, and he crushed it with 7. Week 2, I think it was minus 130, and he had 5. And now it's minus 145 and still 2.5. I
still like that. I don't care if it's minus 145.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
I love it. And I also, the way I see this game going is I think this is the get right game for the Bengals after you lose to Cooper Rush and you lose to Mitch Trubisky. Hey,
I'm fine with the Cooper Rush loss. I wasn't expecting a lot heading into it. So, hey, we'll take 500 in Dallas right now.
Right. You're not going to lose to Joe Flacco. You can't afford to lose to Joe Flacco.
No.
So then the Bengals are going to be up. And then Joe Flacco, who leads the league in pass attempts, he's just going to keep dumping off to Michael Carter.
Yeah.
I
agree.
Yeah.
I love that Michael Carter line. What's the other one you've got?
I think it's Jamar Chase time.
I do too.
I love him to get a touchdown.
Okay.
He had one last year against the Jets, and the Jets are allowing – sorry, let me find this. Where are they? I think the Jets are allowing 2 touchdowns to wide receivers per game. You think if they get 2 wide receiver touchdowns, one of them isn't going to be Chase?
Oh, I think that he's a guy that I really like to get in the end zone this week. I even like his receptions. 5.5 to me seems
low,
pretty low.
Yeah.
So I'm good on either one of those, just because I do think that, he's due to have a good game. I mean, he didn't play bad against the Steelers, obviously, but he struggled against Diggs of all people, which that was kind of the matchup where I'm like, oh man, Chase could get 200 yards because Diggs loves to give up big plays, but Dallas kept him in front of him. So yeah, I'm not high on the Jets. To me, they should be 0-2. They got very fortunate that they're now 1-1. Flacco's thrown for a ton of yards. I also kind of like the Flacco interception line at minus 140 because I don't know how much longer he can keep this up.
Yeah, I don't think
because he's average Joe for a reason.
Yeah,
he is the definition of an average guy right now. So I do lean his interceptions at minus 140 as well. At this rate, I'm just going to have every average quarterback with an INT
with a pick.
Probably isn't the road to go down, but as of right now, that's where I'm at. So, any others for this game that you like? I don't love rushing yards for either team as much as I love Joe Mixon. I just think it's a lot of yards, 75.5. But I also can't get myself to take the under there.
Yeah, I think it's either going to be Chase or Mixon. One of them's going off. I put more faith in Chase. But yeah, I'm good on this one. I don't have anything else.
The issue that I'm having too with this Bengals, because I've looked at player props every week for Bengals receivers, Higgins' line is so gross at 66.5 every week. And then Chase having the 77.5 this week. I can't get myself to put money on either of them, especially in a parlay. So I will stay away from the rest of these plays. I do like the Carter, and I'll keep an eye on the Flacco one. And then I do have Chase down for the TD at minus 110. So that could be one that we look at for our TD parlay, which is going to be a 3-legger, and then we'll have a 4-leg player prop parlay. So move on to Houston and Chicago. This is probably the snoozer of the week, if I had to pick a game that is. Pretty gross line as well. It's over under 39. Chicago favored by 3. I'm on Houston money line this week.
Me too.
I think that this is a week that Houston can actually get a win because I think Chicago are very fortunate to be 1-1.
For sure. So. If that week 1 game against the Niners, just throw that in the garbage. It means nothing.
And even as bad as Houston is, Like Justin Fields' interception line isn't bad. I kind of like his completions, though, because I think they're going to be trailing and it's only 15.5. But the thing with this game that I'm worried about is Chicago. What's the weather going to look like? And I don't want to put down anything here based off of that.
I don't know how you can like Justin Fields' completions after he threw 11 times when they were down last game. He threw 11 times.
I think I'm more so thinking Houston are bad. I'm thinking more so that Houston are really, really bad defensively.
That's fair. Yeah, you can't really.
And at some point, is Darnell Mooney going to do anything? Because I feel like he's probably the most sold, dropped guy in fantasy. And we saw it last year with Allen Robinson in Chicago. And this year, apparently, it's Mooney that's getting the kiss of death. So,
and Cole Kmet. That guy still doesn't have a catch. He was the
amount of people. Okay, and this is just a minor gripe of mine with fantasy football. The amount of people whose arguments are, well, someone has to catch the ball.
No, they don't.
Sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're just really bad, and they have a really bad quarterback. And Dante Pettis gets a touchdown, and then Equanimous St. Brown does because they don't have a clear-cut number one. And I think we've seen that through 2 weeks in Chicago. So I don't love any player props in this game. I only threw Fields out there because I don't know anything else to play here. Is there anything that you like?
I got one.
Okay.
David Montgomery. Over 69.5 rush yards.
Oh.
I think that's minus 110. The Texans allow 143 yards per game to the running back position, which is a lot. And I remember 2 years ago when Montgomery had like that crazy end of the year when he had like really juicy matchups. One of them was the Texans. He had 11 carries for 113 yards.
Okay.
So he crushed it. And it's only 69.5. And with the volume he got last week, I think he can crush it again.
Are you concerned at all about Khalil Herbert there? Because I am a little bit.
I was going into last week, and that's why I took Herbert's rushing yards, but then they just fed him still. They just kept feeding Montgomery.
Because I'll be honest, out of the yards one here, I like Herbert's at 25.5.
Yeah, I mean, I like Herbert too.
And it's because it's that low, but if they're getting killed in the run game like Montgomery could kill them, then I think that Herbert, he's going to break off a run at some point because he's done it the first couple weeks where he gets that 15-yard carry and then you only need another 10 out of them. So if I was playing a rushing prop here, it would be Herbert's, but I do see the value in Montgomery given what he looked like last year. So
I think both guys are good looks.
Okay. So that's all that we've got here. Don't look at Davis Mills. Don't look at Justin Fields. Brandon Cooks is the only receiver that's worth a damn in this game. So I still wouldn't put anything on that because Chicago is probably the grossest team for me to bet because that weather is always shitty, it seems like, on Sundays.
Yeah.
And then you can't get yourself to bet an under on those lines. So
no.
Kansas City Colts.
Holy. Okay.
With how Indy has looked through 2 weeks, they've looked like the worst team in football, but we know that they're not. So any plays here?
So this is kind of gross. I think the line should be more than 5.5.
I do too. I think it should be a full touchdown.
So I'm confused. Makes me want to take the Colts.
It does too. Because I've seen a lot of Kansas City bets, but the line is holding. So
weird. Very weird.
Which is also why I kind of like Jonathan Taylor anytime touchdown at minus 150.
Yep.
Because Kansas City is not a good rush defense.
They have been, which is weird. Have you seen his rush line? Like usually Jonathan Taylor's up close to 100. It's at 85, which seems weird. Kansas City versus running backs.
The only other touchdown one that I like here is Kelsey, and it's mostly because he didn't get one last week.
So he's just due every other week.
He's due every other week just based off trends, but I don't have any data to back up a Kelsey touchdown, so I would strictly be putting it out there as the lazy better that says, well, Travis Kelsey's going to score.
Yeah.
There's always that guy. Oh, Derrick Henry, he has to score this week. It's like, well, they don't score every
Yeah,
week.
he's due. He's due.
He's due after 1 week without a touchdown. So
the Chiefs have a good run defense, I guess. They are allowing 64 yards against per game to the running backs. Granted, I don't think the Cards were rushing a lot. And in the Thursday night game, I don't think they rushed too much either.
no.
So maybe they just haven't seen, like, yes, Austin Eckler's great, but he's not Jonathan Taylor, you know? So I do like JT. And he had a snoozer last week. Like, going back to what you just said about Kelsey. Oh, he didn't get a touchdown last week. He's got to get a touchdown this week.
One that I like a lot here is CEH receptions.
2.5?
2.5 at -125.
Nice. Yeah,
First couple weeks, he's been used a lot in this offense because everyone talked about Pacheco or whatever his name was, and then they brought in Ronald Jones and they brought in all these other running backs as if CEH wasn't going to be the focal point. But through the first couple weeks, he's been pretty decent part of that offense. He's had seven receptions so far. He's had 4 and 3 in the first 2 games.
Yeah,
so he's gone over both games.
Yeah, and the Colts are allowing 6 receptions to the running back position per game. So
I think that one's going to be one that I play for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Big one for you.
Any other ones that you like here?
The Colts or the Chiefs are allowing a lot of receptions to the running back, but I'm assuming that's because of Austin Eckler. I don't have a line yet for either JT or Nyheim Hines, so I can't play it, but I like it.
Okay. Anything else here that you like? Passing yards or anything like that?
I don't do too much of the quarterback props. I have like 2 here, but
yeah, my concern is Ryan's line is 248.5, which seems high, but he is coming off of a very awful performance. So
yeah,
I think they're expecting him to recorrect. If they're trailing, then he's going to be throwing. That's kind of the attitude. And then Mahomes, I'll never take a Mahomes under on passing yards, even if it's at 290.5.
But it's so high. I don't even want to take the over either.
No, you don't. Once you start getting close to 300, I think you just stay away depending on.
You can find something else.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else here, or are we moving on?
I'm good.
Raiders, Titans. Titans are +2 at home. Over-under is only 45.5. Any plays here?
I've already locked this in, so I don't think this will be for our parlay or anything, but I got Adams early in the week at 80.5 receiving yards.
Ooh.
And I put that down for 2 units. Just the Titans have been getting torched. And I don't know what last week was for Devontae Adams. That was really weird.
That was an odd week. Mm-hmm. And his receptions line is juice too, because it's 6.5, but the over is -170. So it's not really a usable piece. Now, the reception play that I like is Trailon Burks.
Ooh, what is that?
It is 3.5 at -115.
Not bad. He was used a lot last week.
My impression of watching Tennessee both weeks is that he's their number one.
Yeah, it's not Robert Woods. God, no.
Because the Giants' defense isn't bad and Buffalo's is pretty good. Mm-hmm. Now they play a Raiders secondary that's not great. They give up a decent amount of yards. And so if Tannehill's going to be giving it to anybody, I think Burks is the guy. Yeah. And at 3.5, I'm expecting a 5 reception day out of him, even if it's 5 for 50 or 60 yards. Mm-hmm. I think 3.5 is pretty low. Because I only like taking reception plays when I see a guy getting not just one above, but multiple above what it's at. So
agreed. And I feel like a lot of these rookies' lines are like poorly done, mismatched so far. With
the issue is if you go to 4.5, he could very easily be 4 for 40 yards. And,
like last week. Yeah.
Whereas this line here, I like the -115. I think it's good value for who I view as their number one right now. Woods has been used sporadically. I do think that this Raiders game could be a Tennessee. Their offense finally wakes up. I don't think that they win the game, but I think their offense will look a lot better against probably the worst defense they've played yet. Anything else in this game?
I got nothing.
Okay, we'll
I
move
want to
on.
see something from Henry before I'm betting him.
Saints and Panthers.
Oh, yes. Another one of my favorites.
Okay, what's your favorite here?
Chris Olave over 39.5 receiving yards.
Ooh.
He's cleared it in both games.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with like 71, and I think maybe he just cleared it in the first game, but his targets are going up. And the Panthers have allowed this number two wide receivers to clear this total in both games so far. Donovan Peoples-Jones had 60 yards, and I think Richie James had 51 last week. And that's the Giants. They're going to have the number one guy on Michael Thomas, and then Chris Olave is going to be on the other end of the field. And his usage is just going up and up and up. So give me 39.5 over all day.
I do like that one as well. I can't play any running back plays here because I don't like how CMC is being used with Baker and with Kamara's health. Can't bet either guy there. So I would stay away from the rushing props.
Do they know that this guy's good? Do they know that they should use him? Throw him the ball.
It feels like Baker's ego is, okay, well, I'm the franchise quarterback. I'm going to get us wins. And it's like, hand off the ball, you idiot. He is so good.
Look, you still get the points if you go like this.
If you saw him the first couple weeks, you would say, how is CMC not touching the ball? Mm-hmm. Because he's been carrying this team. And that's why they've sucked the last couple of years, because he hasn't been out there.
Yeah.
But he is right now. One that I like on the quarterback side, I like the Jameis completions. 18.5 at minus 130.
Yeah.
Because he's coming off a terrible game against Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. And this feels like the game where he tries to throw for 400 yards. Because that's just who Jameis is. He airs the crap out of the ball.
Yeah.
So
I want to see Tampa Bay Jameis back. That guy, he didn't care. He would.
Have we ruled out that he hasn't got reverse LASIK, and that he's indeed more blind than when he started?
No.
Have we ruled that out?
No.
Okay.
No.
I think it's something that we have to look into, and Vegas should look into with these.
Maybe they have one of the Chargers doctors working on his eye.
Jesus. Anything else in this game? I can't get myself to bet anything else here. Yeah. I kind of like the Jameis touchdowns too, but it's 1.5 at plus 145. So I'll stay away just in case it ends up being the Taysom. This is the concern with the Saints. Taysom could just go out there when you're in the red zone and then just run it in himself and piss everyone off in the world. So
no one likes when Taysom Hill's out there.
No. Okay, so that's it for that game. Eagles Commanders. I don't love a lot here. I got burned on AJ Brown touchdown the last couple weeks. It does feel like he's due to get his first one with the Eagles at some point. Feels like it should be this game because the Commanders aren't very good at plus 125. But you always get concerned because when Jalen Hurts gets down in the red zone, he loves to just keep it himself.
Yeah, run it in himself.
The only likelihood where he gets a touchdown for Brown is he has to be 20 yards away. And even then, he's probably still looking to run it in. So
yeah, exactly.
Anything here that you like?
Nothing that I really want to put into the parlay. I like Sanders rushing yards. He's been looking really good. He doesn't score by any means, but
he's had one more than last year. So
yeah, it's impressive. This could be a hot take, but I think this game goes under.
What's the line right now?
47.5, which is kind of low.
I like it as well. This feels like
a divisional game. Both teams have gone over, I think, in both of their matchups.
24-17 is kind of what I think this game could be.
Yeah.
Which is also gross for that spread. So
yeah, it's a little sweaty.
Okay, nothing else for me. Chargers, Jags. Over-under is only 42.5. Chargers were heavy favorites earlier in the week. Now, I think it's Herbert was called questionable for whatever reason.
I think doubtful.
Is he doubtful?
I think so.
Oh, jeez.
Unless I read it wrong, but I thought I read doubtful.
I will have to look at that then, because Well, a good way of knowing, I guess, would be just going and looking at passing yards, which I'm assuming they don't have anything. They don't for Herbert, so they don't know who's
They don't
going to
have
be.
anything for the Chargers.
If that's the case, I don't want to play anything here.
No, the only thing that I would look into is Eckler receptions, Eckler receiving yards. Just because going through my sheet here, the Jags are really bad.
Who's their backup? Is it Cole Daniel still or Chase Daniel?
Yeah.
Okay, that guy's the MVP of the NFL for the last decade for the amount of money that he's made to start like no games ever.
He's like a real life Alex Moran.
That is a great comparison. Yeah, I'm not playing anything here. I can't get myself to do it. I think it's.
You don't like anything for Eckler? The Jags are averaging 7.5.
I don't even trust Daniel to dump the ball off 4 yards.
Yeah, fair.
But if Herbert goes, it's great. But if he's doubtful, then I just can't get myself to play either one. And I don't want to play any of the Jags lines either because.
Me neither.
Okay. Falcons, Seattle. I said this on my show on Thursday. I think this has low-key shootout potential.
Yeah, both
two
defenses are
awful defenses. You've got Geno and Mariota both playing to hopefully be in the league a couple more years.
Yeah, keep their job.
So with that being said, it kind of makes me lean. Well, I like the Geno over pass yards at 217.5.
Seems low. I feel like this is the DK game.
Yeah. That's kind of what I've been thinking. Now, I can't get myself to do the DK TD, but I could get myself to be talked into his receiving yards.
Yep.
But I don't see any. He's 55.5.
Very low.
I like that.
Okay. I actually hadn't even looked into that, but I do like that. I was a little worried at first about AJ Terrell, but then I looked into it. He's been getting burnt. Like, there's a lot of hype about him. Like, last year he was really good, but this year, like, starting off slow.
Okay. Anything else in this game?
Sorry?
Anything else in this one?
London, man, he's been looking good. He had 12 targets last week, and his line's at 53.5.
Yeah.
And none of the Seahawks cornerbacks have looked good.
His receptions are only 4.5.
Seems low, right?
Well, it's minus 145, so it is a bit juiced.
Yeah.
I do like that one as well, so I'll mark it down as one to consider.
The only thing is, like, if this is Kyle Pitts' week.
Fantasy owners, if this isn't Kyle Pitts' week, then they are going to be on trade alert this week.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll be honest. In 2 of my leagues, Kyle Pitts got traded this week. So people are already out.
I put in an offer. Tried to get him on the cheap.
Yeah, I thought about it, but price tag was too high. I can't get myself to buy into the Falcons. Packers, Bucks. Pretty much a pick 'em. Bucks are favored by 1. Line is low, mostly due to injuries, because a lot of the Packers guys were out of practice this week, and no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin.
Maybe no Julio.
Oh, God.
They had to sign Beasley, bro.
And I will not be going to play a Russell Gage line, so that's going to be a hard pass for me. I got burned last week of no receivers. I'll play Paris Campbell, 1 target, no catches. So I won't be going down any road of playing any Tampa receivers. Anything Green Bay related, or do you like a Tampa one?
I like nothing. I have nothing in this game. It seems so weird that this is the first time ever that 2 quarterbacks who've won the MVP 3 times are going against each other. First time ever. And I don't like a single prop.
No.
And the line's at 42. I don't like it.
Yeah. No touchdowns here either. Fournette's is plus 105. That's the best odds out of all of them.
The only reason I like Lenny touchdown is because he tweeted about it. He's like, don't worry, touchdowns are coming. So, like, I'm probably going to play that straight.
Okay, I won't have it in the parlay, but I think because he said that touchdowns are coming, I have to at least sprinkle something on that.
You have to.
Week. Last 2 here, we got Rams, Cardinals. Anything there?
Yeah, another one of my favorites.
Okay, what's your favorite?
Tyler Higbee receptions.
What's it at?
4.5. minus
Ooh.
115. So
what is it about 4.5?
Sorry?
I said, what is it about Higbee for you this week?
So on my chart here, Cardinals have been bad against the tight ends. 9.5 receptions per game and 106 yards.
That being said,
they play Kelsey and Waller. I know.
Yes.
I know.
Okay.
But I also looked into this. So Cooper Kupp has actually been contained by the Cardinals. Like 60 yards, I think, in the last matchup. Or 2 out of 3 matchups, I think he has 60 yards or fewer. So they've been able to contain him. They got a plan for him. Higbee so far has had 11 targets and 9 targets with 7 catches and 5 catches. So he's cleared both times. He's the clear number 2 option for Stafford. It's not Allen Robinson.
No.
And I don't really remember the Cards being great against tight ends last year.
No.
So I know it is an outlier seeing like, Kelsey and Waller, like 2 of the top 5 tight ends in the league. But if Higbee's getting all this volume and all these targets and stuff, why not Higbee?
If that was 3.5, I love it. I'm just so scared that this finishes as 4 for 30 yards. That's my only thing. One that I like receptions-wise here is actually Cam Akers.
Oh, wow. Really?
1.5.
Oh, okay. I don't.
Yeah, no. I'm not going. 2.5, I'm out. But 1.5. Week 1 felt like the coach slapping him on the wrist, like take things seriously, and that's why he didn't get any carries. Last week he had 15 rush attempts and he had 2 receptions.
Seems like he's getting more involved.
I think he's the back to own. And if you had Darrell Henderson, you should have sold him after week 1. But
I will be trying to do this after this.
But Cam Akers 1.5 is the line, and it's minus 120. So I do like his receptions there because he feels like it. This is my only concern, is that he feels like a 2 to 3 reception guy, and that's worrisome when you're only 1.5. So one to think about. Won't be in the parlay, but one that I might play straight up as well.
Yeah.
Anything else here?
I mean, Higbee receiving yards is at 44.5. So if we kind of wanted to pivot off that, but I could also see him, like you said, 4 for 30, 4 for 40, and then he misses. Because I think you
could even have 5 for 40, honestly, because he's not spreading the field. He's not catching a 30-yard bomb. So
then we'll take his receptions, and that'll hit.
Okay, we'll keep it in mind.
Yeah. So week 1 he had 5 for 39, so he didn't even clear it with 5 catches.
All right, last one is 49ers Broncos. Anything here? Or is this a gross one? Okay, how do you feel about Denver after 2 weeks? Because, boy, it's been ugly. But they're 500, so, silver lining.
We hired a guy today to help Hackett make decisions. I think that answers how I feel so far about the Broncos.
You know what's probably my worst show take of all time was saying that Nathaniel Hackett might win Coach of the Year. That was a real thing that I said on the show at plus 1,600, and there's no chance that's happening now. So I think he could go undefeated the rest of the way, and they would still be like, yeah, but look at week 1 and week 2. What are we talking about? So that one feels dead. Now, touchdown-wise, I like Javonte touchdown this week.
Yeah. I think this game's going to be gross. I think
do too.
Both defenses are like way better than both offenses.
Well, yeah, it's only 44, which is not great.
I could see an under for sure, which scares me to take a touchdown, even though I love my boy.
Well, we have a number of actual player props down, but the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm like, we haven't had a lot of touchdown plays as we've gone through. So the one that we talked about, we had Dalvin minus 175. We had Chase minus 110. We had JT minus 150. And we had Fournette plus 105 were the 4 kind of touchdown ones that we mentioned. Were there any in there that we maybe glossed over that could be touchdown guys?
What do we think about Kittle?
Kittle coming off the injury, though.
Yeah.
That's my only concern, is how many snaps does he see? Now, it appears that he's going to play. Like, he was almost good to go last week. Now he's 100%. But
it is scary, though. Like, first game coming off an injury, like groin injury, too. It's so easy to tweak that.
One that you know what? We already have Dalvin, so I won't throw Justin Jefferson in there. And that's probably going to be everyone's play this week. I do like. Sounds like Pittman's healthy.
Yeah.
He's plus 137.
I like that too. But then we can't take JT.
That's true. But this is one where I could go Cook, Chase, Pittman. Because you got the minus 175 with Cook, you got the minus 110 with Chase, and then you got the Pittman at plus 137.
Okay.
So you have the plus play. You've got the what you feel like is a bit more of a sure thing than others.
Yeah.
And then
the juice play.
Which I'm just tallying it now.
Chiefs average 1.5 touchdowns to wide receivers per game so far.
That 3-teamer takes us to plus 612.
Ooh, not bad. Another option is like Devontae Adams.
What's Devontae's?
I think it's pretty juiced. So I'm just giving out options. If we want like a plus money one, we can.
Doesn't even necessarily have to be plus money as long as it hits. Like Adams is only minus 110.
Mm-hmm.
So if we wanted to pull Dalvin, just assuming that it could be a Jefferson day, it could be a Thielen day.
I actually think that Thielen does get in the end zone.
I do too. Or we make it a 4-teamer at plus 1260, which I don't hate as a 4-teamer.
Well, I feel like if we're so sure about Cook to get a touchdown,
pull it.
If we like Adams enough to take it, then we just leave Cook in there.
I think Tennessee's bad, so I think he's going to get in the end zone.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going through everything. Do we think Michael Thomas's crazy run continues?
I can't do it after the last couple of weeks. I just think that it's not sustainable, and I think that's a gross game. I think that's a really gross Carolina, because we saw it last year. Carolina and New Orleans is a gross game to watch.
Yeah.
So I would stay away that one. I don't want to take anyone in Bills, Dolphins, because it feels like Diggs caught everything last week, but it could be freaking Knox and Isaiah McKenzie and Crowder get the TDs this week.
Yeah.
So.
Or like a run game, like Zach Moss.
What about anything in Seattle game?
I like DK.
DK in the end zone at plus 162. But then who do we pull?
I don't know. Well, who do you hate the most?
Out of those 4, I probably hate Pittman the most.
Okay.
Only because it's that Kansas City team, and I could see them just getting absolutely blown out.
Yeah.
So if we are in on Metcalf, Chase, Dalvin, and Adams, that takes us to, I have to pull, who was it that we took out? Pittman. 1,400.
Damn.
I like that as a 4.
Yeah. So okay. I know I brought up Adams, but do we think he's going to score 3 weeks in a row?
I think against that Titans team they do.
Yeah. And what is because they're bad. I said 2 touchdowns to wide receivers. And if Renfro's out, you think Matt Collins is going to perform like he did last week?
No. Okay. I feel good about that one. Plus 1,400.
Okay. I like it.
Now, we have to come up with our 4 for the player props. Now, first one that I want to keep, Michael Carter.
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to put DKs in only because we have the touchdown one as well, and I don't want both to die on DK's shoulders, especially with Geno at QB.
Agreed.
I do like the Burks receptions.
Okay. Yep. I can get on board.
Okay. What other ones are kind of your favorites? I'm just going through and adding in these reception. And what was the second one? It was Burks. Okay.
I know you don't like Montgomery rushing.
I'm thrown off in case that Khalil comes in and they like split because they're both just torching them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do we think about St. Brown receptions?
What's his line again?
6.5. Oh, you like Clyde? We can go Clyde.
Clyde 2.5.
If you really like, well, this player prop parlay has just turned into a reception parlay.
But we're also going to look at the Goff or Flacco. We're in there.
Right.
But I don't know if you love either of those yet.
I honestly don't even really look into, quarterback props that much unless it's like a Thursday night game or whatever.
Okay.
But hey, I'm not against it. Like if you like it,
I'll pull Flacco. I'm going to leave Goff for. Actually, you know what though? I'm going to pull Goff as well. Okay. What do we have yards wise for any other ones that we've talked about? Is there any yards plays in there that we had?
Do you like either Waddle or Tyreek? Because now in Buffalo, they've gone down to what, 4? Like they're down 4 cornerbacks, maybe 3.
What's AJ Brown's receiving yards?
72.5.
Oh, that's gross. Okay,
that's a guess. I have no idea.
No. We've got 3 that I like, but we need to have one more to kind of solidify the 4.
So I got Carter Burks. What was the other one?
Carter Burks and CEH.
Clyde. Yeah.
And then we need one more. We stayed away from a number of these games kind of in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo, Miami.
We're
looking at the Allen rushing receiving.
Yeah, I did like that.
Maybe that's the last one. 326.5.
Pass and rush, you mean?
Yeah. Takes us to just shy of plus 1,000.
Yeah, I like that. I'm just looking at other receiving lines. Just don't want to miss anything.
Yep. Because those are minus 125, minus 115, minus 145, and minus 110. And takes us to 985.
Okay. I don't hate it.
Okay. I think we're going to lock in those 4 on both sides.
Yep. 100%.
So touchdown-wise is Cook, Chase, Adams, and Metcalf. And then CH receptions over 2.5. Burks receptions over 3.5. Michael Carter receptions over 2.5. And Josh Allen over 326 rushing passing at minus 110. Touchdown parlays plus 1,400. And the player prop one is plus 985. So I feel good about it. I'm going to put all these plays out. Also going to put them out as straight up plays because we always do that as well. Anything that's a parlay, you play them straight up as well because the last thing you want is to go 3-1 and then your day is ruined when if you would have just bet them all straight up as well, then you'd be up. So I like the 4 teamers that we've cooked up here. Tyson, thanks so much for coming on, man. We went through all of week 3, it feels like. Broke down a lot of games, a lot of player lines, and it's all stupid anyways. We're probably going to come back here and be like, wow, just Jamar Chase just decided to have 2 catches for 10 yards. So tell the folks at home where they can find your work in the social media space.
Yeah, it's easy. Just SpittinPicklets on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter.
Sounds good. And appreciate everyone who tuned in on this Saturday afternoon. We've had a good start to the day. A couple soccer plays hit. We had a good Ryder Cup day yesterday, good college football day so far. We'll see if we can keep riding that out as well. But appreciate everyone who tunes into our show every single day. Head over to Apple, Spotify, drop a 5-star review, and we will see you guys on Monday for the Competitive Hedge podcast.